Hey friendlies, it's Thursday, January 28th, and I just wanted to talk about a couple things, a couple updates, and a couple things that are going on in YouTube world, a couple things that are really exciting for YouTube creators and you. I know that after my video on Monday, many of you were concerned, and thank you for your concern. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the thoughts and prayers and positive energy coming my way. I am still in the hotel. I extended my stay, but only a few days. I have a suite, by the way. I don't know if I told you, a suite. It's got a 2-burner stovetop and a refrigerator, so I'm able to cook and everything here. And but I can't stay here forever. it's adding up. So I am gonna leave in a couple of days, and I'm getting more blood work done before I go. So just thought I'd update you on that. I'm going through all of the natural path, homeopathic stuff, and I don't know if I'm feeling better or not. Like I said in my last video, sometimes I feel okay, sometimes I don't. I had been feeling well, and then yesterday I was having pains in my chest again and a little shortness of breath. So we'll see, taking it day by day. And yeah, but that's not what this video is about. I wanted to talk about the big win that YouTube creators got about the national parks and filming in the national parks. And some of you are really not clear on what it means, what it meant, what the details of it are. I actually posted a bunch of social media posts saying, hey, help me celebrate. What I should have said is help us celebrate, because this win is a win for all of us. And I'm gonna talk about that. And in case you don't know the background, the National Park Service a few months ago decided that they were going to enforce their "you need a permit for commercial filming in national parks" rule. Not only enforce it, they were going to apply it to YouTube creators. And there is a couple on YouTube, I don't remember their name. I don't know if I'd ever heard of them before. There was a couple, they got fined by the National Park Service because haters and trolls probably turned them in. And when, so that's that. I'm gonna kind of back up and talk about my experience with that rule and what my strategy has always been about filming. So I became aware of this rule of national parks that commercial filming needs a permit. I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, by talking to other YouTubers that are much bigger than I am and have much more experience with this than I do. My understanding was that it doesn't apply to YouTubers, that the law about commercial filming, or the rule about commercial filming in national parks, was really for big production companies, like big Hollywood producers, where they're going to be taking a huge team, tons of camera, security. I mean, if you think about what a big production, and I was on the set of Nomadland, which was a small production and still a huge amount of people on public lands. So my understanding of that law, not only from the people that I heard, but I started doing my own research, looking for precedent to see if there were any cases in which independent creators like me were, if that rule applied to us. I'm one woman with a camera. I'm just another tourist with a camera. The only difference is that I share what I create from that footage for profit. But how is that any different from the millions of other tourists who go in with a camera? Oftentimes my cameras are smaller than other people I see. Sometimes I just go in with my cell phone. So my understanding of the law, and from the research that I did and the people that I talked to, and some of the people that I talked to said that they even spoke with officials at national public lands who verified that no, YouTubers were not included in this rule, that it really was in fact for big production companies. And let's talk about that. Why is this rule in place? And this kind of is my reasoning all along for thinking that I didn't need to get a permit. Now, what's the purpose of a national park? What's the purpose of national lands? One of them, especially for national parks, is preservation. National parks were put in place in order to protect our national treasures from what human beings do to beautiful places. Case in point, every time I go somewhere, there's open poop on the ground, there's garbage. those lands, public lands, national parks, are set aside so that they can be protected. So that rule of needing a permit for commercial filming was intended to protect the park from being trampled on by camera crews, basically, right? From being disrupted, from the wildlife being disrupted by huge production teams, from the flow of traffic being obstructed, from people wanting to close off roads for filming. That's really what that rule was intended, as I thought. You know, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, that's got to be what that rule is for, because the whole goal of the park is preservation. It's not about making people pay willy-nilly just because I make a few bucks for a video on YouTube. That makes no sense. That's where my critical thinking skills come in handy when I'm trying to analyze these things. And what national parks aren't in the business of is policing everybody who comes into that park to make sure they're not making any money off of pictures or a video they take in the park. The National Park Service is not about policing its visitors. That's just not what they're in, not what their purpose is or what they're in business for. So that is really what I took from that law, and all the research that I did was that it really was about protecting a park. Oh, the other thing is, when you do have a big camera crew, whether it's a dozen people or 100 people for a Hollywood production, then the national park is going to need to assign employees to manage that as well, to oversee it, to make sure they're not trampling, to direct the flow of traffic, to close roads down, to close areas down, to assess an area of the park where they want to film for viability, to make sure they're not harming anything. And then also, when they're done, going and making sure they don't harm anything, they hadn't harmed anything, so that there wouldn't be any fines or anything like that. So that rule about commercial filming is really about protection and enforcement of protecting that national land. So when you look at the law and the rule like that, like I did, it makes sense that it means for Hollywood productions and not a single woman with a camera. So I was going on my merry way, assuming that that's what that law meant, because I couldn't find any precedent either way. And then a few months ago, a viewer sent me a comment saying, "Did you see this couple that got fined for national parks?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was shocked and nervous, scared, because I have shot in national parks under the understanding that that commercial rule was for big production companies. And so I immediately took action. I immediately said, okay, well, apparently a YouTube couple got fined, so my take on that law or that rule was wrong. So I took immediate action. I demonetized all my videos that had national, and this is like 3 months ago, demonetized all my videos that had national parks in them and put a disclaimer that they were demonetized, that those videos were not for commercial use. I also documented everything. I documented that comment telling me that that couple got fined. I documented my response. I documented me changing the monetization with the date stamp on my computer. I documented everything when it happened, so that if the National Park Service did come after me, I could explain to them what I just explained to you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that law applied to me. As soon as I learned that law applied to me, I took the necessary steps to try to change that. Because I didn't. I mean, could I apply for a permit post after the fact? So I don't know. So that's what I did. That was my. I'm not intentionally going in national parks trying to break rules. I'm not thinking that I'm above the law. That was just how I interpreted the law based on the research that I did. When that couple got fined, I also hired an attorney. I had been thinking about hiring an attorney for a while anyway, and when I started my new channel As I See It, I had some questions about copyright regarding that channel. So I was like, I've been thinking about it anyway. There's some things about my channel that I want to talk to an attorney about. And the attorney told me this exactly what happened. And I explained the situation. I said I demonetized all my videos, and he's like, you know what, you don't even need to do that. He said if somebody were to challenge that law, they would win. He said that law is made for big commercial ventures, not for individual YouTube creators. And his reasoning was, so that means they would have to go after every single person. Let's say that I'm sponsored by Nike and I go in and I shoot a quick selfie in Yosemite with my Nike shirt on, you know, because I'm sponsored by Nike and I'm wearing Nike shirt and a Nike hat. They would have to go after that guy too. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. So yeah, so think about that. I mean, I look at laws, I look at rules, when it's not clear, when I'm trying to understand how they might to apply to me or not, I try to apply common sense and research. And in this case, that's what I did. But so the attorney said, you know what, I would go back and monetize your videos. Don't even worry about it. And I was like, you know, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to keep them demonetized, because now I know, right? Now I know. And I know, like I've said before, ignorance is no excuse, but the law was very unclear. It didn't say what do they mean by commercial, you know? I mean, I am making videos and putting them on YouTube, and YouTube is putting ads on them. Is that commercial? I'm not charging anybody to see my video. I'm not getting paid by anyone to create this video. I mean, I'm not getting paid directly by anyone. I'm just getting ad revenue. So is that considered commercial? So there were really a lot of questions about it. So the other day we got great news. A few of you emailed me right away. You guys oftentimes see things before I do, and I learned them from you. But a federal judge ruled that this law, I don't know if it's a law or a rule, but the rule by the National Park Service extended to apply to YouTube creators was unconstitutional. I mean, who would have thought? And you can read, I'll find a link and I'll put it in the description, but basically this federal judge says it violates the First Amendment rights of just independent creators of going into parks. And so they overturned. That's good news for the couple. I wonder if they can get their fines back. So that's really good news for not only YouTube creators, but for you. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Basically what they said is, yeah, that law or that rule about commercial filming is vague, number one. It doesn't say. It was created years and years ago before YouTube. It was created before we had this huge online community and independent creators who are able to make a living off what we create, you know. So this law is old, it's outdated, and it was created before YouTube, and they decided that, yeah, it's unconstitutional to make us jump through hoops just like any other. I mean, we're just another tourist with a small camera. We're not impacting. We're not negatively impacting the park any more than any other tourist. The only difference is, like I said, we're sharing our content with tens of thousands or millions of viewers. So could another person, another tourist. Does that mean that I should have to jump through hoops, that I should have to go through red tape and pay and everything? It doesn't make any sense, and that's what the federal judge ruled. So what I see moving forward is that the National Park Service is probably going to have to rewrite their rules and make them more clear, but it's really, really good news. And I got challenged on this. Why is this good news? Tell me why I should celebrate with you. And maybe it wasn't snarky, and I apologize if you didn't mean it snarkily, but it felt snarky. And the answer to that is because not only is it a win for YouTube creators, it's a win for you. I create content, I work, I give you my labor for free. Excuse me, the only cost to you is a few seconds of commercials during my videos. That's it. So the harder it becomes for me to create, the less I'm gonna do it. I am not, I'm an amateur. I'm a woman living my life, taking you with me. I'm not creating production films. I'm not pretending to be a professional at anything. I'm sharing my life with you. And when my life happens to take me through a national park, I take you with me. And when it becomes harder for me to do that, I don't plan anything, for one thing. That's the biggest thing about a permit. I don't care. I'll pay $100 for a permit. If you make it easy, if I can pay for it at the gate, fine. But you have to apply ahead of time. You have to tell them when you're going to be there, where you're going to be. That's just not me. So the harder laws and rules make it for me to film, the less I'm going to film. So that's why it's a win for you. Because if I was just not going to shoot in public in national parks anymore, I just wasn't going to. I'm not going to jump through hoops because that's just not how I live my life. And my channel is an extension of my life. My channel is not a separate, a lot of people think that I live for my channel. I don't. I live and take my channel with me. Does that make sense? You know, I live my life and take my channel with me. I don't live for my channel. And like I said, so the harder it becomes for me to take you with me, the less I'm going to do it. So, and I'm sure every creator, the couple that got fined said the same thing. They weren't going to go to national parks anymore. So that's why it's a win for you. And this idea that I should have to pay because I make a profit, I don't understand that. I mean, why? I'm just another tourist with a camera. And what I get paid for, my labor, my time, my energy, my talents, my efforts of putting together videos to take you to those places with me. Me going to a national park and paying the entrance fee, just like everybody else, and then creating visuals so that I can take you along with me, if anything, is a public service. So there are so many people who will never be able to visit some of the places I have visited. And I bring that to you pretty much free. And the more you make me pay for that, the more hoops I have to jump through, the less I'm going to be able to do it. That's the bottom line. So I thought that was worth explaining to you and telling you, you know, that this is a big win. Drones are next. So let's talk a little bit about drones. YouTubers are also now getting massive fines from the FAA, Federal Aviation something, for flying their drones and putting videos on YouTube and making money off them. And when I first got my drone several years ago, I registered it just like I was supposed to, but this new commercial use thing that they're doing is wow. I looked into it. In order to now fly my drone for commercial use, and I hope somebody challenges that as well, is YouTube really commercial use, just like the national parks? Is this really what you meant by commercial use? But as it stands now, the new law, which just passed, I just learned about it, the new law says that if you're going to fly your drone for commercial use, you basically have to get like a short version baby pilot's license. No kidding, a freaking pilot's license. I looked into it. You have to apply, then you have to study, then you have to go take a test somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. I don't know that drone footage adds that much value to my videos. And this is supposed to be fun. Yeah, it's a job, and yeah, I guess, you know, but when they start making me, again, when I have to go and take a test to fly a drone, I'm sorry, it's just not worth it. And I spend enough time as it is just running a small business of being a YouTube creator. But when they start making me jump through meaningless red tape that really doesn't seem to provide any public value or have any logical reason to it, I can't imagine they're worried about drones. I don't believe in legislation and red tape just for the sake of red tape. And the more hoops they make me jump through nonsensically, the less I'm going to do it. I know you love seeing that footage. I know it's really pretty, but for now, I'm just not going to be flying my drone anymore, which is really unfortunate because I know that you guys do enjoy that. But I didn't get into this YouTube thing to become a freaking drone pilot, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. You want to talk about big government, they got to have their hands in everything. Yeah, unless somebody challenges that drone law and decides that putting a drone flyover on YouTube isn't considered commercial, then my drone is going into retirement, I'm sorry to say. Unless I create another channel that's not monetized. We'll see. That's an option too. I can create another channel that's not monetized, but then what? Just put a drone video on there? We'll see about that. So again, I just wanted to share that with you. I know a lot of people didn't quite understand what the whole hoopla was about, what it meant for not only YouTube creators, but for you, the audience. I'm thrilled because this means I just get to be, you know, like I said, I live my life and take you with me. And the more I get to do that, the more I know you get out of it. And the harder they make that for me, then it's just going to be harder and harder to do that. So I think it's a win for all of us. Again, not just me. and my channel, but all the channels that you watch. And it's also going to have bigger repercussions. I think it's going to have this decision, this ruling is going to have a big impact on us in many ways that I'm really looking forward to. So stay tuned. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your support. It means a lot. Thank you. I appreciate all of your support, and I appreciate everyone being a part of my community and all that you do to support me. I'll see you next time. I'll be checking in with you. What I'll do is keep my Sunday night videos, which are a little behind, as the travel videos, and I will be checking in with you at least once a week probably about what's going on. I'll do real-time videos once a week. That's usually what I do anyway. In the winter, I usually do like a teaching video on Thursdays, but this year, because I haven't felt very well, I haven't done that. I'm just not in the mood to shoot, really. This is easy. I can just sit here in a chair, especially in a hotel, but setting up a shoot to shoot other videos, it's a lot harder. All right, I hope you're doing well. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind, and enjoy our national parks with me. Bye.